You're in a good place now. Relax, breathe, smile. You've entered into your element, the home of origin, the home of intelligence and beauty, where relevant topics are discussed, where what you think counts, and where superior is the norm. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Hey, welcome back here live with me, Ashley Berges, here on Perspectives. Wow, what a wild week. What a great week. You know, last week, we were talking about the New Year's Eve. We were talking about what to do this year. You know, what's too much? You know, is it normal to wonder if you're the only person missing out, you know? We talked about really deciding and defining our proper individual perspective when it comes to New Year's Eve. You know, what does New Year's Eve mean to you? What does New Year's Eve mean to me? I think that's what's most important before you can start beginning to think about what to do this year or what's too much and all that great stuff. You know, Billy, B Squared, Billy the Kid, how you doing?
Yo, doing okay. How about yourself, Ashley? Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. You been doing well?
I've been doing very well, thank you.
Awesome. Yep. Wonderful. Dan the man. Danny O, how you doing tonight?
Great.
Great squared.
Yes.
Good. Well, you know, we're talking about we talked about New Year's Eve, and we're talking about New Year's resolutions tonight. But before we get to New Year's resolutions and how to make the right one and how to stick with it and how to make it work, because, you know, most people's resolutions don't work. They just don't.
Holla.
Yeah. Holla. We're singing to the choir. We're preaching to the choir right now. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody that's here listening knows what's going on. If you're listening on your radio or on iHeart or on TuneIn right now, you know what's happening. You know that you've done this several times and it didn't work. So before we get to talking about resolutions, let's talk about what New Year's Eve means to us, because we talked about it a little bit last week. We talked about how it's the ending of a year, and some of y'all might think that it was the best year. Some of you might think it was the worst year, but it's the beginning of a new year, you know, as well as it means looking at the entire year, right? The culmination of everything, of all the ventures and all the work and everything you've accomplished and seeing what you've done. You know, it means another year older and closer to the fatal end of our lives, I know, sadly enough. And it also means that time is flying by and there's nothing we can do to slow it down. You know, I'm thinking about the people I spent the time with last New Year's Eve and about how I haven't even seen half of those people this entire year. And I think once you realize what New Year's Eve means to you, whether it means that you had a great year or a not great year or whatever it means to you, not what your best friend thinks, not what your spouse thinks, not what your girlfriend or boy thinks, or not what the media thinks. You can decide what you should be doing for New Year's Eve because it would define you, because it has meaning to it. You know, it depends on your agenda. You know, what do you want out of New Year's? You know, what do you really want to do, and where are you in your life? You know, I think we talked about this last week. We were talking about, you know, when we're dealing with New Year's and all that stuff, we had to define what we wanted to do. We had to define where we wanted to go. And I think this applies to everything, really, in life, because I think it's not just one day. I think it's an everyday, a step-by-step process that we have to understand our particular life. You know, and I was thinking about this the other day when I was watching an advertisement for, I think it was Travelocity. Actually, Travelocity. And they show a girl that's dancing and partying and in LA and having a great time. And then you see like her alarm go off and it says 2 hours before the flight leaves. And you see her getting on the flight and you see her putting like an eye mask on. And then you see her waking up and nobody else is on the flight. And all you see is, like, you know, her phone in her hand. It says gate whatever for the baggage claim. And then you see her going back to bed in her own home and setting up a trip to Vegas. And what are they doing? They are selling the concept of partying. You know, you are a rock star when you use Travelocity, right?
Life is a party.
Life is a big party, right? And I think that New Year's Eve and all that stuff that we've dealt with is kind of the culmination of dealing with our day-to-day basis. You can decide you want to go see the game. You can decide that you want to do this or that. You don't have to, though, and you don't need to buy into all the hype. And I think that's what we were kind of talking about. You know, and it's like the hype is kind of the issue. But, you know, we also talked about what was too much, what's too little. But you know what? That doesn't really matter anymore because you made your decision. And that's great. And so now we're talking more than just partying, right? We're talking about actually doing something worth doing. Okay, everybody can have a great time, everybody can party. But tonight's Perspectives with Ashley Berges is really dedicated to anyone who wants to make a change in your current life. You know, the change can be big, the change can be itty bitty, you know, or it can be something in the middle. But we hear a lot of talk around this time, all the way to like mid-January. We hear people talk about New Year's resolutions. You know, we hear them talking about giving up smoking, you know, getting a better job, going back to school, or getting that degree that they never actually got. You know, and every January 1st, we have friends, coworkers, family members who tell us, and everybody who's willing to listen, about their new thing, their new resolution. And, you know, a lot of times in less than a month, the new thing isn't happening anymore. You know, you see your coworker outside behind the office building smoking. You know, you find out that your brother didn't really enroll back into school, and he's going to have to wait till the summer semester, and you hope that he follows through at that time. You know, and some folks choose, you know, to get in shape, and that's a really cool thing, and working out and becoming a healthier human being. And that's a good resolution to make and to keep because it'll keep you healthy, obviously, and alive. That's a good thing, too. But however, despite the obvious, right? Despite the obvious setbacks and the drawbacks to not keeping that resolution, we resort back to, you know, I don't know, out of control eating, you know, sitting on the couch, letting the gym membership expire, right? Letting it expire with only going a grand total for a year of 15 times. You know, it's a sad state of affairs, but this happens. It happens to all of us. But you can succeed. You can succeed with your New Year's resolution. You know, you can push past all the other talkers, the naysayers, the talkers about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, by listening to tonight's show and implementing these concepts and these perspectives that Dano, Billy, and I are going to be talking about, and how to put that into your day-to-day life and how to make it work for you. And I think that's what's so cool about it, because you actually can make these resolutions work. You actually can fulfill it. And the cool thing is that you can be living and breathing in this resolution well into 2015, you know, if you listen to the show. You know, have y'all ever tried a good New Year's resolution? Have you ever followed through with one?
Well, remember last year?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I made my...
we were on the news and all about that, too.
Yes.
Okay,
and...
yeah. Okay, so backstory. Okay, so Billy, you wanted to lose 20 pounds, right?
Yes.
And you decided you were going to go work out, you're going to change your diet, and you did. And explain to our listeners, you know, how much dedication that takes to make that happen.
Well, it took just a dedication to a specific goal or plan. And by the way, for those of you who haven't been to Ashley's website, it's liveyourtruelife.org. But it was really your book, 10 Ways to Live Your True Life. And the one thing I took from that is you have to make a specific goal. It's not good enough to say, oh, I just want to lose a few pounds, or I want to lose some weight, or I want to get in better shape. You need a specific, measurable goal to get to, and that's what she helped me with. And I said, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year, and sure enough, you know, it happened.
And it wasn't. The cool thing is that it is an attainable goal. I think a lot of times we make these goals that are really lofty and really cool, but you know,
pie in the sky type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, oh, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna climb Mount Everest, and I've never been in a gym. I mean, there's things that you kind of have to put forth, and there's other things that you know that you can do, and then you can't make it too easy for yourself either. I mean, if you were to sit there and say, I gotta lose 5 pounds this year, I mean, that's too easy.
Well, you can do that by the end of January.
Yeah, exactly. And then what do you have left? Nothing. You know, Dano, have you tried to do a resolution and follow through with that?
Well, I've tried to do the resolution, but I haven't followed through with it.
Okay, cool.
I'm the total opposite of that, and so.
So what was it? Just after a month or so? Just
Well, yeah, because I got a membership to the gym, because I was gonna go work out, get in shape, like you were saying before. But yeah, that didn't work out too well.
So February, March, it was kind of like
yeah, it was done. It was done with after like the first 3 months.
You're like all gung ho at first. And...
I was. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go this day. I was going like 3 days a week, and then I just stopped.
See, that's normal. I mean, most people that are listening, and I've even been in the same situation, in the same shoes.
Yeah, Dan, are you like me? Exercise would be more enjoyable if it didn't hurt so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great. I mean,
Yeah.
exercise is a great thing if it didn't hurt so much. Yeah, if you could do it from the couch, you know, it is that way. But hey, guys, listen in tonight. Tonight you're gonna actually get the tactics. We're offering you the perspective tactics, getting your New Year's resolution right this time, this year, this time. And the cool thing is that you'll be living, breathing example of the success story all the way through 2015. But you got to listen to this show because we're telling you the ins and outs, the tactics, the things you don't hear anywhere of how to actually make your resolution work, how to stick to it, and how to show up all those other people that seem to not be able to get it right and actually step up and be big time. So stay tuned because Perspectives with Ashley Berges will be back in what? 2 shakes.
Fish don't fry in the kitchen, beans don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying just to get up that hill. Now we're up in the big leagues, getting our turn at bat. As long as we live, it's you and me, baby. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives with Ashley Berges. The water's warm and there's a swim-up bar. Glass of perspective, anyone? Now, here's Ashley.
Fish don't fry in the kitchen, beans don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying just to get up that hill. Now we're up in the big leagues, getting our turn at bat. As long as we live, it's you and me, baby. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Hey, welcome back here live with Ashley Berges here on Perspectives. Yes, you heard it, Perspectives with Ashley Berges. And we're talking, our discussion tonight is how to get your New Year's resolutions right this year. You know, your resolution can be living and breathing well into 2015. But really, in order for that to happen, you have to listen to this whole episode of Perspectives because people don't tell you this information. This isn't public information. It's not public domain. Because if it was, there wouldn't be half the stuff that they sell to you to try to help you keep your weight loss or whatever you got going on. Half the products in the world wouldn't even be an issue if you actually listen to the show. So you can actually save money, save time, and you know what? Basically save face by listening to the show tonight. You know, weight loss, if it's quitting smoking, if it's stop drinking, you know, if it's getting a better job, you know, or if you're just considering going back to school. You know, they're really all cool because they're all viable. They're all New Year's resolutions that really can make into a really cool reality. And however, instead of going gung-ho, honestly, the first week and then kind of petering out week 3, you know, you need to pace yourself. You know, you got to pace yourself. And you have to have, what is it? Determination. You know, determination is such a big deal. You know, you have to have determination. Self-determination is, a lot of people think it's nothing. Yeah, it's a huge thing. Because if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you believe that you have the ability to do something, you can do it. You know, when you believe you can do something, you see it. You can taste it. You know what it looks like, right? You know what it looks like to be successful, and you go for it. You know, you don't go 200 miles per hour week 1. You know, it's just, wow. And then when it comes to like smoking or what have you really can't cheat as well. So you kind of got to just build up to things. And if, something happens or if you mess up, you start over again. No one's really keeping score, except for you, honestly. And that's the key. So let's talk tonight. Let's begin our conversation on how to take your New Year's resolution into 2015. I know 2014 is coming. I'm not off by the year, okay? I know I'm not off by that year. I'm talking about into the next year, 2015.
Whoa.
Okay, so I'm not off by a year. So this isn't just like a fly-by-night idea. Oh, I'm going to do this for a month. Or I'm going to do this for 2 months. No. This is like a lifestyle change. So number 1, the way that you can keep steady through 2015 is to make only one resolution.
Aha.
What do we have for her, Johnny? We have a lot of nice party gifts. Okay, so the thing is that if you make a resolution, right? If you make a bunch of them, how do you actually make all that happen? It's almost impossible.
Remember, Ashley, we talked about this last year. If everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority.
Exactly.
And I liked what you said earlier, and I think you ought to say it again. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
If you believe it, you can achieve it.
Can I use that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to use that.
We can all use that because it's real. Because really, if you believe it and you know you can do something, not only do you know it, you see yourself doing it. So think about like back in the day, let's say like if you played football or sports and you saw yourself like catching the pass, right? I mean, if you didn't see yourself catching the pass, you're not going to be able to catch the pass. And it's just like with golf. If you see yourself, hitting and getting right into the hole and doing all this great stuff, great. Otherwise, you're going to be out there in the weeds. You're going to be in the water. Nothing's going to happen for you because if you don't see it, you can't make it happen. So in order to see a resolution clearly, you can only make one. You can't have three. You can't say, I want to quit smoking, I want to quit drinking, and I want to lose weight. I mean, that's a lot.
Or some people do like Dano, people who do something ridiculous like 10 or 15 or, they make a whole list.
Oh, yeah. I actually do have a friend who last year, that was his New Year's resolution, was to actually quit smoking, quit drinking, and to lose weight. He managed to lose a little bit of weight because he didn't quit drinking, but he cut it down.
He cut it down.
Yeah.
He minimized it a little bit.
He minimized it, yes.
What about the smoking? Did he smoke more?
Yeah. So I guess it kind of balanced out because he smoked more and drank less.
So he lost a little weight.
But lost a little weight.
He's a little more stressed out and nervous and on edge because of the cigarettes.
Right.
But other than that, he was okay.
Yes.
So listeners, you hear what I'm saying? It's like, it makes sense. If you're out there and you've made a resolution, which I'm sure you have, just keep the one that's the most important. Keep the one that means the most to you. And I think that that's important to think about hierarchy or like triage. When people go into the hospital, there's levels of what is the most important thing to deal with. So let's say if you have high blood pressure, maybe the smoking or the drinking or the working out, but something's got to give. But I think kind of the biggest thing needs to be taken care of. And then the following year or 6 months into it, you can maybe add another one to the repertoire. But I think when you're putting so much on your plate, nothing good's going to happen. And a lot of times we backlash, too, because we can't do it all. We get overwhelmed. We feel sad about what we've done, and then we just fall apart.
Because remember, Ashley, you've got your normal life to lead. You got to, take the kids to school and baseball practice, and you've got your job, and you've got other things going on. If you just pile on all those resolutions on top of that, it's too much.
It is too much. And you have to take in consideration your daily stressors, right? Because that's a big deal. Like, if you're working a job that stresses you out, and you're trying to quit smoking, this is going to be an issue, and you're going to have to work on a daily basis because when you make this resolution, you're not thinking about maybe your boss breathing down your neck. Maybe you're not thinking about dealing with your wife or your husband or your kids or whatever stress or maybe the bills or whatever is kind of the trigger point is something. And so a lot of times when we're dealing with one thing, we can deal with the triggers, but if you're dealing with a slew of things or so many triggers, eventually it's going to backfire. It just always does.
Good thing for Dano and I, we don't work at a job that causes stress.
God bless. The second thing tonight we want to talk about is how to really kind of push through this resolution 2015 is to, what is it? Believe in yourself.
Believe
right?
to achieve and then believe in yourself.
Yeah, because if you believe in yourself, right? Can't you do something? If you don't believe in yourself, if you say, oh, I have the willpower of nobody, and every time I do something, it never happens, and, I've never made anything good actually happen, and my resolution is never going to come together. It's just going to fall apart. If you think that way, then I don't even know why you waste your time. I mean, really, just let it go. But if you believe, hey, I'm cool, I'm a good person, and I can make this happen because I believe in myself, but only do I believe in myself, I want the best for myself. And so if it means losing some weight or going back to school or stop smoking, whatever it is, you need to kind of do that for yourself.
So are you talking like self-motivation or just motivation factor in general?
Self-motivation. Yeah, because everybody else can be doing whatever. I mean, you could be standing in a group of people smoking. You could be standing in a group, whatever. You could actually be at home and you're surrounded with a bunch of people that are sitting on the couch eating, and they don't care about working out. I mean, you could actually have a spouse right now that's talking to you after you've made your resolution to stop smoking that also smokes, that's blowing smoke in your face as you're listening to the show. Okay, and so there's a lot of factors that go against us being able to try to make this a reality. But if you believe in yourself and motivate yourself, even in the eyes of something happening that's like antithetical to what you're trying to do, Dano, you're right on. That's the key, is that you have to just believe in yourself and just say, hey, I want this to happen, and look at it like other goals that you've looked at in your life. You know, whatever you've done really well and successful, like the things that you've actually attained, think about how you did that model. Think about how you motivated yourself even in the low times, or how you motivated when people were against you. And that's always awesome, because all of us have a success story, at least one, that we can look back and say, okay, I'm going to try to map that success story and place it on this. You know, even though there might not be a payout, even though some people might be going to school to try to get a better job, so in the end there might be a payout. But there's not a financial payout right now for you to quit smoking. But maybe if you look at it in the end, you'll keep your insurance, and then your kids won't have to use your health insurance after you pass on before they're like 12. So, I mean, that's also a consideration. But
that would be good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But, you know, it is true. And it's when you believe in yourself and you only keep the one resolution, that's what it's all about. You know, when we come back, we're talking about your imagination. And your imagination is so vital because it actually makes reality. And a lot of people don't realize that. I don't understand why. It's like your reality comes from your imagination. Like the thoughts in your head, first are thoughts in your head before they actually happen. But we've all had that happen where you think something and then it happens. Sometimes it happens immediately. Sometimes it takes a couple of days. So when we come back, we're talking about how to use imagination to make your resolution come true and to activate that for at least the next year. So stay tuned, because guess what? We'll be talking more resolutions and how you can be successful and how you can tell other people how to do it. Perspectives with Ashley Berges will be back in, 2 shakes.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF.
Hey, welcome back live here with Perspectives with Ashley Berges. How are you doing this evening? Woo! It's been a great, great evening. We've been talking about how to be successful. Not only how to be successful, but how to be successful in your 2014 resolutions. And we're talking about trying to carry them through to 2015. You know, not everybody can be successful. Okay, if everybody's successful, then, you know, there would be no shows, there would be no talk shows, there would be none of this. Not everybody can, and you can actually show other people how to do it, how to actually carry through on their resolution, how to be successful, and you can be successful in the process. And, you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, making the one resolution only. We also talked about believing in yourself, but just as important as those two components, you know, of really making this resolution stick is to use your imagination. Use your imagination, right, to really see this resolution as reality. Because a lot of times when we use our imagination, we could be thinking about all kinds of different stuff. But, you know, when you really use your imagination and you really think clearly and you see something happening and you see it actually go to fruition, it does happen. Now, you have to do things in the process to make it happen, but if you can see it, obviously we talked about that earlier, you can achieve it. And so you have to sometimes imagine things that you haven't done to actually make them happen, because we've all had those thoughts and those conjuring of ideas in our head that actually come true. Now, sometimes they can happen the same day, sometimes they can happen within the year, but you created it in your own mind, and so can you create being actually able to take a resolution, a thought, and make it into a reality. And not a reality to March of 2014, but well into the following year and making it into a life change. And I think that's key, because imagination is key for all goodness in our life. You know, the next thing we're talking about is to stick to it. To stick to your resolution. And I think, Bill, when we were talking earlier, you know, when we were on last year, we were on CBS, and we were talking about your resolution. Had you not stuck to it, had you not believed in yourself and followed through with it, none of that would have been a reality. If you didn't believe you could do it, you just wouldn't do it.
No, I mean, and that's the other thing that you helped me with. You helped me believe that I could do it, because, you know, weight is something I've been struggling with for most of my life. And you helped me, first of all, see that I had not been making effective enough goals. But then you helped me believe, hey, look at 20 pounds. You can do that.
And that's true. And that's a good thing you brought up, is a lot of people that are listening tonight have had issues in their family, or it's genetic or what have you, where they've always had these problems. You've always had these problems. You've always had issues maybe with the way you eat or dieting or what have you. And so sometimes it can be hard to maybe, really stick to it and believe in yourself. But sometimes you have to realize that it's not your family. You're not your family. You're you. And you can overcome any of these situations if you believe in it. Dano, I know we talked about earlier about how, the whole working out stuff and everything, it kind of didn't follow through. I mean, do you think that if you would have really just believed in yourself and really stuck to it, maybe it could have happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that it could have, but at the time that I was going through it, I was dealing with some other stuff, like personal issues, and so I think that was one of my factors of not following through with, my resolution of going and working out and getting back into shape.
And, all of us deal with issues. We all deal with personal issues, and that's a good point. Is that when you have, all stuff hitting the fan, I mean, everything's coming out of the middle of nowhere, things are coming from all directions, and you're really having some personal stuff going down. If you need to take a break, you can. I think for your own self-confidence, it's better not to keep having something that you can look at and say, well, this is going right. I got this going for me. Maybe these people are acting kind of crazy, and maybe this is happening, and it doesn't matter what it is, but all in all, I know that this is working out because I'm in charge of this. This is something that I have control of. And so in that situation, I like when people follow through with their resolutions because it gives them something to look at and say, I'm doing something right. Okay? I can control this. Nobody else has to be involved. However, when things do come in the way and it gets crazy and it gets hairy, nobody, like I said earlier, is keeping score except for you. And if you smoke a cigarette or something happens, just get back up and try again. Because the whole thing is just don't let it all go. Don't let it all go. And also think about those issues you're going through. Are people putting stress in your life that's equally putting stress on you not fulfilling those resolutions? We're going to talk about that later.
Ashley, can I do my John Wayne impression?
Oh, yeah.
Please. When you fall off the horse, Pilgrim, you got to get back into the saddle.
I love that. See, John Wayne, the whole thing, you got to get back up, dust yourself off, rub some dirt on it, that kind of thing, and get up and stick to it. But the fifth key, perspectives key, is to really do your homework. Do your homework. And when I talk about doing your homework, I mean, if you're going to quit smoking, find out all the quitting smoking plans, whether it's the gum or the patch or the inhaler or whatever it is that you think you might need. Have something back up for you to help. Cold turkey doesn't always work. And if you want to do that, that's great, but have a backup ready in case that doesn't work, because you'd hate to go through all that and then not follow through because one day you had somebody come at you, family members, stuff all hit the fan, and all of a sudden you go and you grab a pack of cigarettes and you start smoking. Instead, you could have put the patch on or done something else. As well as, let's say you want to go back to school. You got to get the homework done. You got to figure out what school you're going to go to. You got to figure out about enrollment. You got to do all this work. There's backstory to trying to do something. You can't just say, I want to do this today and it's done. If it's losing weight, you got to figure out, do I want to work out at a gym? What do I want to do? What gym is there? What do I need to do? What's the schedule? What kind of health, what kind of regimen do I need to be on? Have a plan before you make a resolve, because if you have a plan, if you don't have a plan without a resolve, you don't have a resolve. It's just that easy, okay? Because that is one of the most important things. But another thing is you want to surround yourself, right, with like-minded people. I think that's the key, is that when you have other people that are trying to change their lives or do something with their lives, it's so important. Because when you're just around a bunch of people that don't want to change, don't want to do anything, just want to stick to whatever they have in their life that's not even working, it's hard to make a change because they're going to look at you and go, why do you need to make a change? Or, Dan, I don't even know why you need to lose weight. You don't seem like you need to lose weight. You look like you're fine. I don't even know. You seem like you need to eat more. So they go against what you're trying to resolve.
His wife just fainted.
You need to finish your plate. And that's the key. Because a lot of times we sit there and we go, I want to make these changes, but the people around us don't back us up. You got to have people around you that back you up, and if you don't, say either you need to back me up or you need to be quiet. Quite honestly, because I'm trying to make a change for the better of myself. And so if you have somebody saying, why do you want to go back to school? I don't understand. You're already X amount years old and it's already behind the 8 ball, whatever. Just, first of all, let's have some positivity. And second, this is something I want to do. And this is something I believe in. And if you don't believe on that, let's just be quiet. Let's just, agree to disagree. But don't put it in my face. It's my life. It's not yours. And I think that always helps too, because you can't live someone else's life. You can live someone else's life for only a little bit of time until you hate them. And then you're not going to even be hanging out with that person, and you will have lost how many years of your life because you were living their life, not yours.
So surround yourself with positive reinforcement.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you know, it's like basically trying to create something. Everybody's around you saying, you'll never do it. You'll never get that done. You know, and it's just like they get like happy and joyness out of like seeing you just completely fall apart.
It's like, you know, the angel and the devil on your shoulder. You know, the devil on your shoulder. Oh, you can take the morning off, just sleep in, you know, or you can't really do that, you know. And
that's the devil, though. The one
that's the devil. The
devil.
And there are people in your life that will do that.
But there might be people that you know, like you were saying, there are people in your life that'll probably do that. But you might get motivation from people.
I'll show you.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. Oh, so there's both sides to it, and I think you're right, but sometimes it's hard for some people if you got both sides talking to you at the same time. If you don't have deep conviction and determination and belief, conviction and belief in yourself, then it's hard to listen to that other voice. However, like Daniel, like what you're talking about is really important, because if you do have deep conviction and determination, when somebody says you can't do it, oh yeah, just stand back. Stand back and watch me do it. I'm not only going to do that, but I'm going to do 3 more resolutions. But no, it's true. And so you have to see what motivates you and what gives you more determination. And if having somebody around you that's a naysayer helps you out, then keep them around. You know, for some people, it's not good for them. It's hard for them. Those people, you know, figure out, you know, say, hey, we're going to agree to disagree. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to really limit my time around you because it's not healthy for me. And I think that's important. Hey, when we come back, we're talking the last couple ideas that really it really all pushes everything together. Without these concepts, you know, it doesn't all happen. You know, it's kind of like the icing on the cake. You got to have what really works, really be viable with the rest of these keys, because otherwise it doesn't happen. So stay tuned, because you want to be successful. We want you to be successful. And you know what? We want you to do something that you haven't been able to do the last few years. You've been trying to do it. You haven't been able to do it. We're going to talk about that because I think it's important, and I think you're going to really find resolve in tonight's show and know, man, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to show all those other people what's up. So stay tuned, because Perspectives with Ashley Berges will be back in 2 shakes.
It was an immense achievement.
Well, Mr. Higgins?
A triumph, Mrs. Pierce, a total triumph. Higgins, you were superb. Absolutely superb. Tell us the truth now. Weren't you a little bit nervous once or twice?
No, not for a second.
Not during the whole evening?
At the moment, I thought we were going to win hands down. I felt like a bear in a cage, hanging about, nothing to do.
It was an immense achievement.
If I hadn't backed myself to do it, I'd have given it up 2 months ago.
Absolutely fantastic.
A lot of tomfoolery.
Higgins, I salute you.
I could lift you up. I could show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be.
Get in here and give us your perspective. We're listening. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
No, I didn't. Honest. I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for cab fare. My tux didn't come back from the cleaners. An old friend came in from out of town. Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake. A terrible flood. Locust. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God!
Hey, welcome back live here with Perspectives with Ashley Berges. And you just heard a great clip. I know everybody that's listening.
Classic movie.
Classic Blues Brothers. Not the remake, the original Blues Brothers. And that is an awesome clip. That's awesome. And you know, the reason why we play that is because the most important thing when you're trying to make your New Year's resolution stick, and you're wanting to make this go all the way to not 2014, because we're there now, 2015 or farther. I hope that it's a lifestyle change, not just for a year, but farther. Drum roll, please. And number 7. Okay, you want to catch yourself, right, when you're making excuses and getting in your own way. So we talked about other people, and we talked about the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and we talked about other people. We talked about even your spouse blowing smoke in your face when you're trying to quit smoking. Other people are a facet, but your worst enemy in making this resolution stick is yourself. bar none. End of story. Because when a lot of times we're humans and our brains override a lot of reality sometimes, like a lot of what's really behind the scene. Like we'll tell ourselves, oh, well, I was just scared of success. Or whatever it might be. Or, oh, I just couldn't do it because the cards were just down. I just never been able to be successful, I mean, I just tried so hard and, I just tried so hard and just everything kind of came out of nowhere. It broke me down. Okay, so these are a lot of excuses we make. We make a lot of excuses. And I know everybody listening to this show right now, there's an excuse that you probably made in the last couple of days, if not today, that you're thinking about right now saying, wow, that is a total excuse.
And, I actually know someone, Ashley, and I've told you about her before. She can make excuses for the reason why she has excuses.
See? You get so programmed. You get so programmed that your brain wants to validate the fact that you're making an excuse. I mean, Dano, I see you looking over here smiling, thinking about this whole concept. I mean, really, honestly, we've all made excuses. I've done it. Where you come up with something just crazy, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like Belushi on Blues Brothers. It was like something a little closer to normalcy, but at the same time you sat there and you said, well, that's why I couldn't do it. And it was just, the cards were down, it was just, the life was in my way and there's nothing I could do. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, because everybody makes excuses about it, why they don't want to do anything, because, oh, it's raining outside. Oh, well, then I have to get up and, I'm just comfortable sitting here doing nothing, Maybe I'll get my exercise by playing Madden on the Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, my fingers. I'll lose all this weight, 1 calorie a second, And you're true. I mean, that's so true. And I think the biggest thing is to really listen to yourself. And when you start making excuses, you got to realize it because you're not stupid. Okay, you're smart. You're successful. You're listening to this show, so you got something going on for you. Besides that, you didn't get to where you are in the rest of your life by making a bunch of excuses. So, really be honest with yourself. And when you start making excuses, realize where it's coming from and stop it. It's really that simple. And we'll talk about more of that in the next coming weeks. But that's such a big deal because when we make excuses, we also excuse ourselves out of life, right? We excuse ourselves out of the coolness, out of the marrow of life because we don't experience anything because we're too busy making excuses for ourselves. And it's kind of sad. It's really sad. So, when we're talking tonight about really making these resolutions stick, we really have to focus on the fact that you want to have one resolution, right? You want to really believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You don't want to. You have to. You have to believe in yourself. No questions, no bar. You have to make it happen. So when you make this, make the one. Believe in yourself. Use that imagination you have. Your brain is huge. We all talk about all the brain capacity and the human condition and how we only use 2% of your brain.
Where's the Tylenol?
You use 3% and use that imagination and really start seeing your reality as being successful and on the other side and making this happen. You got to stick to it. You got to stick to your ticket. You got to stick to your resolution. You got to make it happen. Because if you're not, then what does it matter? It's about you anyway. This is all about you. Okay, so you got to stick to it. You got to do your homework. You got to really say, okay, self, I'm going to do this. I see myself doing it. I believe I can do it. This is how I'm going to get there. This is how I'm going to do it. And if things come in the road or things get in the way, stress or family or issues or personal issues, I have a backup plan. I have a plan. And I'm ready. None of us just, willy-nilly go to work. And we know that there's going to be traffic. We know there's road closures. We check it out before we get in the car usually. Or we have navigation. See, we have something, and we figure out a plan. You don't just go out there and just go, okay, so you're going to have a plan, so do it like you do everything else in life. Do everything else, all the stuff you do successful, do it like that. Find a map. Find the one thing that you really respect yourself for doing, whether it's your work or your education or raising your kids. Whatever you're happy about, what you see success from, map that. Take that whole concept, put it on top of the idea of what you're doing, and create a map to make that a reality. Again, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people. You want to hang out with people that respect your choices, that respect that you made this resolution. But more than anything, you got to watch yourself. Yourself could be your hardest critic. Yourself can get you right off the mark because it can make excuses for you.
And you know someone who is the world champion at being your own worst critic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Billy Boy.
Yes, that I'm raising my hand.
And as he's raising his hand over here, and you have to understand that Bill is a lot, he's got that type A personality too. You have that personality where, you carry everything on your shoulders. And, I mean, a lot of us have that. A lot of our listeners are dealing with that right now. And it's easy to make excuses when you're dealing and battling with other things.
Yep, we got another hand raiser over here.
I'm guilty of that too.
Dan's raising his hand. He's actually raising both hands, actually, because it's true. And we do that. I mean, we do that. So, I mean, what are we going to do? Are y'all making a resolution this year? Did y'all make one?
I have not yet made a resolution. I've had a lot of things going on lately in the personal life, some of which you know about. So,
yeah.
So I haven't really just sat down and did it, but I need to do that.
Okay.
I think by next week I'll have one.
Okay, well, we can talk about that the following week because it'll be good to talk about. And I think a lot of times it's not about making it January 1. Okay, that's another thing is that you can make changes in your life. You can resolve to make a change in your life. It doesn't have to be January 1. It's all about making it when you know you need to make it and sticking to it and being determined and believe in yourself because if you want to stop smoking, if you have a nagging cough that you cannot stop coughing because you're smoking so much and you are constantly getting sick and ill, and you know that you have to eventually go in for an insurance evaluation based on the fact that if you smoke, you got to quit at some point. So why don't you do it under your own accord instead of having people force you to do it? Because you know what happens then. You start sneaking cigarettes, or you're in your closet smoking, all your clothes smell like smoke, you're hiding out, you got breath mint, spray, Banaka, you're on the side of the building, like looking the other direction away from the wind, you can't make lunch with anybody anymore. I mean, you have the breath mints all the time, got those Starlight mints, a whole bowl of them, just chewing them like candy. You can't, you got to eventually step up to the plate and say, I'm going to do this. No matter what, I'm going to make it happen. So I don't know. Next week, we got a lot of stuff on our plate. And Perspectives is moving slowly in the direction of really helping people find success in every facet of their life because it's just all about the whole person, right? I mean, you can have these issues in your life, and you can have other things that are going well, or you can have some things that are going well and other things falling by the wayside. So it's really all about the whole person. It's really not about just one facet. Dano, do you have a resolution?
I'm with Bill. I really don't. Yeah, as of yet, I don't have one, but I'm sure I'll have one by next week.
Well, that's good.
Hey, I got an idea. How about listeners of the show get on Facebook and Twitter and suggest something?
Yeah, and tell us about your resolutions. Tell us about what you've decided. What have you decided to make changes in your life, and why? I mean, because a lot of times it's more interesting to know your perspective of why. What was the need? Because sometimes it's not a huge thing. Sometimes it's not like I have to, stop drinking or I'm going to die. It's not like those issues. And sometimes there are. And for the most case, sometimes it's about things that just need to be rectified. And I like to know your perspectives. So yeah, check out Facebook. Go to Perspectives with Ashley Berges. You can check that out. You can also go to Live Your True Life. As well as you can also send a tweet to at Ashley Berges. And so we got a lot going on. I got a new website coming up, launching here in about a week. I'm going to let you know about that. We have an event coming up in January. That's an only event for Perspectives listeners, which is going to be really nice. And we're going to have a lot of stuff and a lot of things going on. That's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're not listening, you're not coming. So next week, we got a lot on our plate. Perspectives is going to be talking about a lot of different things. Dana, it was awesome talking with you tonight. And I'm looking forward to hearing what your resolution is.
Great. It was great talking to you as well, and I want to hear what yours is.
Ooh.
And I want to hear what Bill's is, too.
Ooh.
The drama.
Ooh.
Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Ooh, I like that. That was nice. And we didn't get in trouble for cussing at all of that thing. So that's good. So stay tuned. Yeah, we have a great show, and we'll be disclosing our resolutions next week, which is going to be very interesting. I'm sure they're going to be, maybe one is going to be juicy. We'll see. And it'll be a great show. So stay tuned. In Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. We'll be back in what? We'll be back in 3 shakes.